Okay, we're going to take a look at here the Canon XA11. This time we're going to jump into looking at the, we're not looking, listening. We're going to be talking about the, what this sounds like, the audio. A lot of you guys struggled when you use the good old cell phone. Cell phone has a decent camera, doesn't have the zoom. This thing's got a heck of a zoom on there. Also the microphone. We'll talk a little bit more hopefully in the future about the mics that you could possibly use with cell phones. Because remember, the number one thing is that you want to be able to get your microphone, you got to get that close to the subject, right? The closer that thing gets, the better your sound quality is going to be. You can get really nice and you know, really good microphones, but please remember, just the general rule of thumb is get it closer. So the Canon does have its own microphones. It actually has two built-in microphones, and you can see them right here. There's one on this side and there's one on that side. It would be better than your cell phone microphone if it's left to, you know, if that's all that you got. That is the internal mic, but preferably for most of what we're doing from here on out, we don't want to be able to use that internal microphone. We want to be able to plug in some different mics. And so here's your different options. If you turn the camera this way where your hand goes, there is a little compartment over here, and I can flip this open and I can see here there is some things here. I have the traditional jack that you guys are familiar with. You call it an aux jack, but it's 3.5 millimeters is what it's really called. And I can see there's the headphone jack if I want to listen to it. And then there's a red one. So if you want to be able to plug in a traditional microphone that has that, for the most part, we're never really going to use that. Okay, we are going to, let me close this here. What we're going to be able to use this pretty kind of rocking handle that we got. Remember, you can put your hand here on the side, and then you also have this handle. But on the handle, one, we have the buttons where we can zoom in and out, that slow zoom, and also we can record. But you're going to have on top of the handle, you're going to have this thing we're going to talk about later. That's, although it's on the top, think about what you have on the bottom of your feet is a shoe. So that's what's on the top of it is a shoe. We're going to talk about that in a second. Then I have this sort of hole here, okay, that I can be able to attach things into. That is for microphones. That's where a microphone can sit. And here's the key here is this. These two large places where you can plug in a microphone. You can see a considerably different size of what your aux jack looks like to the size of these ones. This is what we call an XLR microphone, XLR. The XLR mic is the mic that you see all the time. It's the mic that, when you go to your concert and you see somebody singing along, yay, that's this microphone. You have somebody giving interviews, like, hey, what's going on here? That is the, that's what this kind of microphone is. It's not necessarily the top part that you're talking about. It is this, the bottom. And if you can see in here, that is a 3-prong microphone, and that's standard across what kind of you know, regardless of what world that you live in too. If it's music, if it's interviews, if it's podcasts, you're generally looking at that kind of microphone, XLR mic. The cables that go with it are significantly thicker and larger. They're much more robust. They can handle things like putting it across the ground and having people step on them and things like that. And so that's the microphones that we're going to need to be able to attach that. And so we have different names. First off, this microphone that we have here, this is simply a microphone that you're going to hold by hand for giving in interviews. And this is what we're going to refer to simply as, it's like a baton. It's like a track and field. So we're going to call that, it's a stick. So this is a stick mic. Hey, how's it going? Gotcha. That's a stick mic. Second microphone that we're going to have is this one here. This microphone looks like a stick mic, but instead you can see here, instead of having the bulb at the top, this one has sensors on the side. It can pick up the audio on both the top and on the sides of that. This one is more, think about is that it is catching stuff and it shoots it out sort of this way as opposed to right in front. So it's referred to as a shotgun mic. And a shotgun mic, thinking that it does this sort of reverse of what a shotgun would do, which would spray out. You're asking the audio to come in from sort of this direction. This is if you can't necessarily get very close, you put this on here. So that's what I mentioned, this right here is that you would unscrew this, put the shotgun microphone into that and have it rest. This is often going to be outside, so you're going to want to possibly cover that shotgun mic up with a piece of foam that can help protect that. Another thing that you can possibly add to that is this. If this is in a much more windy scenario, you could put one of these onto this. This is made, this can be the synthetic fur or it could be real fur, often made from rabbit fur, and the name is a little kind of not the greatest thing in the world. It's referred to as a dead cat. And you can probably assume why, right? Anyway, so those are some of the microphones that we can attach to them. And then we're going to get to a whole nother set, is that can I be able to attach a microphone that somebody would wear on them? We'll refer to that as a lapel mic. And that lapel mic can use the same sort of things. We can even have wireless as well too. That's going to be another lesson for another day. I want to show you a little bit about what these microphones sound like. We're going to look at the internal microphone, we're going to look at the shotgun microphone, and we're going to look at the stick mic. All right, so let's check it out. Here's the first one. All right, so here we are with our first microphone, the stick mic. You can see it looks like a stick. Some are longer than others, but this is the traditional, hey, I'm giving an interview. I'm singing a song. I'm doing karaoke. The key to this, like every microphone, is how close it can get to you. You can hear the audio is going to be pretty clear on this. One of the struggles is that it doesn't look natural. This, more than anything else, this is designed for a reason. When you see somebody with a microphone, they are giving an interview, they're singing, they're talking to the camera. So if you're producing a movie, you're doing a story like that, then you get a big problem is you don't want the microphone to show up, so then you got to hide it. So let's try to be able to see how we can be able to take this same idea. We're going to put this on a shotgun mic and hide it somewhere for our second look at or listen to some microphones. All right, next up is the shotgun mic. The point of the shotgun mic is, remember, it's supposed to be shooting at you a little bit, and the key part is that you don't want to have the microphone in the shot. That way, if I'm doing some acting and you don't want to see the visible shot of the microphone. But remember, rule number one is the mic's got to be close. So you can't see the microphone, but it's actually here. And just take a peek up there for a second. And there it is. And you can see it's only really just a few feet away from where I'm at. And the point being is that, and even in the television and the movies that you see, that mic is just out of the scene a little bit. And here I'm by myself, so I'm using a big thing called a C-stand to be able to hold it up. But in many times, and actually it's kind of required in the movie industry still, is that they still have people hold these things. This is a boomstick. Okay, and what we'll say is that more than the shotgun mic is that this will be a boom mic, that anywhere that you can boom out and over something and have it hang down. And generally speaking, you want to be able to, as much as you can, have it here facing down. Be careful about having angles, because you'll often see quite a bit of times how the mic got in the shot.
More wax on the floor, please.
And so one of those things got to be careful. But the same idea, and you can hear the audio quality, still pretty good. Take 3 on microphones. Actually, it's the same mic. Same exact microphone. All I've now done is I've put that microphone, that's 7 to 8 yards away. So it is sitting on top, and that little holder I told you about that you can look at right here, you just, you screw that in and it sits there, and it's sort of doing the shotgun out, and it's out of the shot. And it's easy. You plug it in and you just leave it right there. But you can probably notice a little bit of the audio quality, and it definitely doesn't follow the idea of have the microphone close. It does have some use if you've got somebody who is relatively close to the camera. It does serve a purpose, but when in doubt, try to get your microphone closer. Let's wrap it up with number 4, which is that's those 2 little microphones. So right now everything's unplugged. That's just those internal mics that are on there. Still far away. You tell me, what do you think was different or better between the shotgun mic that was on it versus these internal ones? All right, and so lastly now is how do you use the thing? So first off, you need to decide what kind of a mic that you're going to want. Do I want a stick mic? Am I going to use a shotgun mic? One way or another, which mic you're going to be able to want. And then you're going to need to be able to get the cables that go along with it. So you need a microphone, and you're going to need the XLR cables that go with it. All of them, as you can see here, if you head back into the cave, you turn left, you see all the cabinets, you open up those doors. This is going to be our audio cabinet where you can be able to access all of them. We're going to have more. You'll see lapel mics in there and wireless. Don't worry, we're going to get to all those a little bit later. But for right now, just focus on these 2. If you remember, all of the bottom of whatever mic that you look at is going to have those 3 prongs. Those 3 prongs that stick out, I'll refer to as the male prongs. All of the microphones will have those. And then the cables that you're going to have to pick from will have 2 sides as well. You'll have the 3-prong male, 3-prong female. You just need to decide what length that you want. We have different colors, and it doesn't really matter because the point of the cable is you're never supposed to be able to see it. But if you notice that the cables are all going to be wrapped up, They're with zip ties, they're going to be with Velcro ties. Cable management is important because however that you take these cables out, have them go back in. You can imagine throw cables into a box and it becomes like, you know, if you've seen the Christmas lights on Christmas Vacation, it gets a bit tangled up. So
you have to check every bulb. Whoops, got a little knot here. Work on that. I'll get the other box.
let's not do that. So what I'm going to have you do is you grab your microphone. Let's get one of the mics to practice with. One of the stick mics would be relatively easy. And let's start with putting it in here on the microphone side as well. You're going to the female to the male. If there's only one way to be able to do it, it's the 3 prongs. You're going to see that there's going to be a tiny little latch lever that you could be able to push in. When you go in here, you don't necessarily need to do it because you're going to be able to push in and hear yourself a little snap. Ready? There's the snap. Now that microphone is in there. Then the other side now is we got to be able to get this into the camera. Let's take a look at the camera here. On the side of the camera, this is the holder if you wanted to put the shotgun mic that we talked about, and I showed you a little bit earlier in there. But on the side of it, there are 2 inputs. We're going to focus on input number 1. Okay, label their input number 1. Now they'll have similar this sort of little lever that kind of locks it into place. Getting it in is relatively easy. In order to be able to get it out is a little bit of a challenge. You kind of need 2 hands because you have to push this lever and pull it out. So do not try to do this with 1 hand. I recommend if your camera's on a tripod, you leave it on the tripod. 1 hand holds the camera, the other hand pulls it out. So simply putting the thing in is going to be just like we did before. The male to the female, match up the 3 prongs, hold the camera, and you should hear yourself a little bit of there was a little click and a snap again. So now that's attached in there, how to be able to remove it. Okay, I should be doing this. I'm just going to hold it against my body, but I'm going to be pushing on that lever. Okay, pushing on the lever on the bottom, grabbing with 2 hands and sort of pulling the thing out. Remember, like any equipment, if you're forcing it and it's not working, okay, so don't force your equipment. Gently pull it out. If you ever need some help, come and find me. That's your introduction to the XLR cables. I want you to be able to have some fun. Be careful with the equipment and good luck with your audio.